All right, welcome back. So now we are at the Put Path 101 course, lesson 6, how to open a brokerage account. The last couple of lessons, we focused on how a put credit spread sets up and how to set up a trade that is compliant with our Put Path options trading system. And now we're going to get into how to open up your brokerage account, which is really the first step on the Put Path, which gets you towards trading options. In this lesson, we're really building the foundation. This is the first step on the Put Path. We're going to focus on an essential step, which is how to set up your trading account. Before you trade, obviously, you have to have an account at a brokerage. So what we're doing is we're helping you set up a solid foundation, thinking through the process, thinking through which brokerage that you might want to use. You're going to have a clear understanding of some of the pros and cons of each brokerage, pros and cons of the apps that are out there, and get ready to take the next step in your journey. So if you've been listening to us for any length of time, you know that we like to keep things simple at Put Paradise. So we came up with this simple acronym to remember the Put Path, and it is BASIC. So the first letter is B, and it stands for brokerage. And we'll go through the A, the S, the I, and the C later on as we go through the course. When you think about brokerage, you have to think about who's reputable, who's a good fit for you. So make sure that they're big enough for your risk tolerance. Make sure that they have a good financial position and a long track record. Do your research, compare the features, the apps, the fees, the commissions, and the support, the customer service across all these different brokerages. You have to fill out an application. One of the things they're going to ask you for is your personal information, your employment information, your experience trading options, and then finally follow through on the application. Make sure that the application's filled out exactly, properly, and that there's no mistakes. It's going to help you get through and approve faster. So you may be asking yourself, what is a brokerage account? Well, hopefully you've been trading stocks for a little while and you understand the basics, but if not, we're going to go over that here. So a brokerage account is an investment account that's going to allow you to trade a wide variety of different types of investments. It's self-directed, so you can trade stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, and this is going to be funded with after-tax dollars. Difference in a brokerage account and a retirement account is pretty big when it comes to options, because in a retirement account, they're going to either restrict options altogether or they're going to restrict the types of options that you can do. So for most 401ks, they are not going to allow you to trade options in any way. For a IRA account, they're going to typically permit you to trade certain types of options like covered calls and credit spreads, which is what we get into. In the past, I've dabbled with different apps and different brokerages. I've used Toss, which is Thinkorswim. It's part of TD Ameritrade now. I've used Etrade. I know a lot of people like interactive brokerage. But the three that I'm using right now is Robinhood, TastyTrade, and Fidelity, and they all have pluses and minuses that we're going to get into. But my takeaway is, best thing about Robinhood is it's commission-free. Best thing about TastyTrade is the tools and the support that they have with Tasty Live and Tom Sosnoff and the rest of the team there. They used to have. Tom's left, but he taught me a lot for many years. And with Fidelity, it's a full service institution. The customer service is great. And obviously it's got long staying power, strong financial institution with a lot of capital and assets under management. Just showing a couple different options here. So you can go with a traditional brokerage or an online brokerage. So with traditional, we're talking about brick and mortar. You could go up and drive over to a Merrill Lynch, Bank of America, get out, talk to their broker, set up your account, do everything in person, on paper, fill it out right there in the presence of somebody. They could help you through questions and things like that when you're filling out your options application. Or you could do it online. This is the majority of the way people are trading now. Obviously, it's faster. It's all going to be digital. It's going to be an online application. You can access this through your laptop or your tablet or your phone. But these are going to have self-directed, a DIY approach. They're going to have typically lower fees, and I'm thinking about Robinhood with its low commissions. So there's pluses and minuses to each style. Fidelity's more of a brick and mortar traditional, and Robinhood will be more of the online only. I have no affiliation with any of these brokers, so I'm just going to tell you straight my opinion. I think TastyTrade is the best app. It's got the best tools. It has the most information. The amount of information at your fingertips is just outstanding. It was purposely built for futures traders and options traders, and it's really geared around how options trades are structured, and you can very easily see all of your Greeks. You can see and navigate all the screens to get to your DTE and your delta, and it's really the best as far as the technology. Robinhood is also easy to navigate. It's really good for beginners. It has zero commissions, which is outstanding, particularly for younger traders. And then for Fidelity, it's more of a traditional brokerage. The options trading tool is not great, but it is serviceable. And if you know what you're doing and you kind of learn some shortcuts, it is actually okay over time. When you open your account, they're going to make you fill out an application. So the application is going to include a lot of information. They're going to want to know your personal information, address, name, all that kind of stuff. And then your employment history. They're going to look at your occupation, your income, make sure that you're in a good financial position. And then they're going to look at your experience. How long have you been trading stocks? How long have you been trading options? They're going to look at your investment profile. Are you conservative? Or are you aggressive? And then you need to link your account to a bank, which is going to allow you to transfer money back and forth. So you typically want to link that to your checking or savings account. And then you submit your application. So it's typically done in a few minutes, I think, 5 or 10 minutes. And you're going to have that application submitted. And then you can go on to the next step. I should mention before we get into funding is that if you already have a brokerage somewhere, then go ahead and use that for your options. Don't overthink this. The types of trading that we do with the put credit spreads, these are going to be trades that any brokerage can handle. And the only thing you really need to think about is fees, and try to avoid apps and brokerages that are shady or new or non-reputable. But if you stick with some of the bigger names that I've been talking about that are out there, you should be fine. So just don't overthink it, just get started. All right, so funding your account. So obviously you're going to have to link your bank account to your brokerage account, and you're going to need to put some money into this brokerage account. I recommend at least $2,000. That's going to allow you to have a margin account. That's going to allow you to trade one underlying at a $5 wide, which is a $500 buying power reduction 4 times over the laddering process. So you're going to need at least $2,000. What funding amounts do you need? So $500, theoretically, you could trade with that. You could do a $5 wide put credit spread and a 1 lot. However, I recommend that you have at least $2,000. I think some brokerage are going to require you to have $2,000 because you need to open up a margin account. Now, margin doesn't mean that you're borrowing money like you would with a margin where you're trying to borrow money to buy stocks or something like that. But They're going to ask you for $2,000 at minimum, I believe. And that's going to allow you to have 4 trades on at once, which is what we call laddering. So we do 1 trade every week. And then in order to have the full system down where you're trading all 12 names or underlyings, you're going to need $24,000. So, again, I think at minimum 2,000. If you have more than that, great. And we'll talk about how to scale up your lot sizes and your underlyings as you get towards 24,000. Just a couple quick points on funding. So I always recommend that you fund with discipline. And what that means is you don't want to put all your money into your options trading account. Basically, you're going to have a account that you dedicate to stocks and other investments. You want to put a small portion into your options trading account. Never put more than you're willing to lose. It's kind of like gambling in that regard, is that on a particular hand of blackjack, never risk more than you're willing to lose. It's kind of similar in options. I always say never put in more than you're willing to lose because the worst case scenario is out there. Black swan events are out there. You need to have that mentality is that this is risk on type of money. This is money that is at a higher risk than your other conservative investments. So again, you need to have $2,000 minimum. I advise you to paper trade first and then scale as your experience grows, scale as your risk assessment grows and your understanding of options. And then you can start to add more money. We always recommend that you start with one underlying and then you want to start with one lots and then you scale up from there to multiple underlyings and then eventually to multiple lots. So this is a DIY approach. It's do it yourself. The PutPath options trading system is built for the individual investor. It is built for someone who has a full-time job, for busy professionals. We use your own guidance, your own discretion on which underlyings to use. There's a systematic approach, but you have control over the system. You have control over exactly when you place the trades, when you put them on, when you take them off. So just want to re-encourage you there is that this is a personal choice and you have to have personal responsibility to manage your own account. So now it's time to choose. It's up to you. You choose the right broker for you. There's some things that may be personal to you that are not personal to me. For example, I have a IRA account that has a pretty good amount of money. So I choose to use that account in Fidelity to trade options in. And I had to move that over from a 401k to an IRA to do that. But you think about these factors, fees, tools, whatever your brokerage is offering, if you have an existing account, things like that, and make your choice. So I'd like to give you a lot of step-by-step processes. In this step-by-step process, it's really easy. To open your account, you're going to need to accurately fill out that paperwork. You're going to need to secure a link to your account, and then you're going to need to fund that account. It's as simple as that. Just take action, go do it. Many of you are very security focused, as am I. One of the things I would look for is strong password requirements, strong passwords that you enter yourself, and two-factor authentication availability. TastyTrade has that. I know many brokers do. You want to monitor your credit reports, look for anything that is unusual. Obviously, monitor your own account for transactions, and then choose a reputable broker. That's probably the most important thing. I know this is kind of a dry lesson. It's a dry topic, but it is essential. You have to choose a great broker, choose someone that you can trust, choose someone that you feel comfortable with that can execute your trades quickly, choose someone who has great customer service, who has the security that you're looking for. If you're looking for low fees and commissions, that's out there too, but it needs to be personalized for you so that you have confidence in your trading. You can see the key takeaways here that we've gone over a couple times so far. Get the right broker, apply, make sure you have security on your mind. And I just want to reiterate the basic concept So BASIC. The B in basic is going to stand for broker. So that's what we're doing here. We're setting up that brokerage account. The A stands for applying. So you're going to need to actually apply for options trading within your brokerage account. That's the next step. That's the next lesson. So stick around and we'll go over that in lesson 7.